My name is John Worsfold. I work in the Innovation and Development section within RNIB. Public transport and the use of public transport for blind and partially sighted people is a real issue. This is for many reasons. It is not only the lack of accessibility within the infrastructure, but also getting access to information that is accessible. A majority of people actually follow familiar routes. Well, this doesn't foster spontaneity or independence. The accessibility of public transport affects all modes of public transport, whether it be train, bus, taxi, and in fact, the glue that holds all those public transport networks together is walking.
Hi, I'm Steve Shepherd. I suffer from diabetic retinopathy, and the big beautiful boy in front of you is Stanley, my guide dog. Some of the issues I face when walking are things like billboards on the side of the road. They tend to put them all over the place. I know nowadays they tend to keep them in the building line, but over the last few years they're all over the pavement and it can be a problem. Roadworks appear any time of day or night, so it's a matter of having to react to those roadworks when they come up. One day the pavement can be nice and clear, the next day they're actually taking you out onto the road to get by the roadworks.
There are accessible pedestrian crossings. Knowing which ones are accessible is an issue, and attempting to cross the road in an unspecified area, for example, just literally crossing the road off a curb, is incredibly dangerous and very unnerving for a blind and partially sighted person.
If I'm out and I'm not sure of the route, it's good planning before you go anywhere. Or I will always take somebody who is sighted with me, get me used to that route, and then once Stanley's got it in his head, then we're fine. When something goes wrong, you've got a tongue in your head, ask the question, and somebody will always point you in the right direction.
Can I offer you any assistance?
Yeah, I'm looking to get into the council house.
Okay, sure.
And I know there's some steps about here somewhere.
No, there are some steps.
Yeah.
If you just hold on to my
Right.
elbow.
Thank you. Stan.
Shared spaces for blind and partially sighted people can be a real nightmare. Imagine walking along the path and not having any identification or warning to let you know that now a car can drive, or a vehicle can drive directly at you when you were unaware that you're actually in a shared environment.
What we need is to have some tactile paving before you enter a shared surface. At least you're aware that something's going to happen, and on exiting the shared surface, that would be a better solution.
The most common used form of public transport is the bus. Bus travel is improving, but it can still be a real nightmare for blind and partially sighted people.
My name is Brenda Williams, my dog's name is Sky, and I have a condition called macular dystrophy. I do take the bus quite regular, probably 2 or 3 times a week. If there's someone at the bus stop, they sort of flag the bus down for me, but if I do tend to be on my own, I just hope that they're going to stop for me. If I ever had to go to a bus station, I think I'd be quite nervous, because obviously I wouldn't know what sort of bus stop I wanted. I'd probably have to get someone to actually take me.
Okay, well we're here now,
Oh.
this is number 1, so you
Okay,
from here?
yes, thank you very
All right,
much.
no worries,
Thank
take
you,
care.
bye-bye. Once I get on the bus, I have to swipe my card on the machine, which tends to be in different places all the time. Is this the right bus to Queen's Medical?
It is, darling.
Do I swipe my bus?
No,
pass,
darling,
or-
I'll just give you a ticket, my love. Just bear with
Right.
me 1 second.
When I get on the bus and there's no announcements on the bus, I do have to rely on the driver. So I do tell him where I want to get off, but if he does happen to forget me, then obviously we've got a problem. Because what you're really doing is asking people. You're not being independent, you're relying on people all the time.
This is our stop next. If you want to press the bell, we can get off together then.
Oh, lovely. To make it more independent, I would say more announcements at the bus station, like a train station.
Another popular form of public transport is obviously train travel. Train travel is a little more complicated than bus travel purely because of the scales of train stations, and the journeys tend to be longer.
My name's Kevin Crompton. I have retinitis pigmentosa and I have a guide dog called Victor. I used to use the trains fairly regularly at one time, but since my vision got worse, I found my confidence not being as strong because I wasn't sure where to get off, which platforms I was at, where I was needing to go. So I found myself becoming less adventurous in travelling, well, using public transport, in particular trains, because of not knowing where I'm going to be.
Some of the issues with train travel is obviously navigating the station environment itself. Stations vary in size, complexity, and they're all different.
Once I've bought my ticket, if I've managed to speak to somebody personally, I'll ask them what platform my train will be leaving on. Otherwise, if they can't tell me, I find it quite difficult, because then you've got to find somebody then and ask them where the train's going to come in and which platform it's going to be at. And it's not always easy to find somebody.
Hi.
Do you know if this is platform 2B?
Yeah, this is platform 2B.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
thank you. Doors in general on trains tend to cause me a bit of a problem on the more high-tech ones, because you tend to trying to find out where the sensor is to be able to open the things, and you're not sure if they open automatically or not. Knowing when I'm at the right station, that's another difficult one, because if there hasn't been an announcement on the train, I have no idea where I am, unless of course it's the last station that you're going to come to that I'm getting off at.
Unfortunately, if a blind or partially sighted person has had a bad experience, in some circumstances it can put them off using public transport altogether.
My name is Hilary Wheatley. My eye condition is central retinal vein occlusion together with macular degeneration. I have travelled on the tram and found it most difficult. The worst part for me was actually the ticket machine that worried me so much. Oh, excuse me, is this the correct station for Piccadilly?
It is, yes.
Could you help me with the ticket machine?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I find it quite threatening when there's a crowd at the tram station and all trying to get on the tram. People who go to work, people who come from work, whatever, and somebody who's got a visual impairment feels extremely threatened. And I do feel that it would be nice if there was somebody there that could help people who are visually impaired, or anybody who's got a disability. Okay. Excuse me, could you tell me if this is the Atlas tram?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Some of the issues that a blind or partially sighted person may face when going on a tram journey range from the planning stage through to actually knowing when to get off.
Excuse me, is this the correct stop for Piccadilly?
For the train station?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, at that particular time that I was on that tram, I found that it was a long journey, at which time I found the experience really, really bad, so I got a taxi home.
Taxis are another form of public transport that are used by blind and partially sighted people. They can be used not only as a form of transport in their own right, i.e. they plan to use a taxi, but also as a fallback mechanism.
I do use taxis a little bit, I tend to walk quite a bit with the dog, but late at night I will use a taxi to come home. There is a few issues. Some drivers don't want to take you, they don't want the dog in the car, and then refusal by a driver makes you feel like a second-class citizen. You're being penalised because you've got a disability, and that shouldn't happen.
Improving the taxi services for blind and partially sighted people could be done by simple changes. For example, when the taxi arrives, not just to bip its horn and wait for the individual to come to the taxi, but actually get out, greet the person and help them to the car.
If things are improved for me, it would mean I got round a lot easier. Just need people to be more considerate and more aware of disabilities.
I feel at this moment in time, because of the public transport the way that it is in general, it's very restrictive. But if these little changes were made, it will make a big difference to somebody like myself and other disabled users as well, and probably will give us that more independence, more desire to want to travel around and do different things and be more free.
We would like stakeholders of public transport to engage with us to improve the accessibility of public transport, thereby improving the lives of blind and partially sighted people and allow them the independence they deserve.
To find out more, call our helpline on 0303 123 9999 or email us at transport@ncc.gov.uk. at rnib.org.uk.
RNIB, supporting blind and partially sighted people.